Hello everyone, once again, it's time, it's the end of the month, and it's about time for me to go look at the things that I bought over the past month and take a little bit of inventory and, know that I understand what I spent all my money on. Again, that's the purpose of these videos. Kind of I go through everything, talk a little bit about them, say what I did, what I spent my money on, where I got them a little bit, and why I bought them. Hopefully, I get all those things in every single one. I decided to do this now on the last day of the month as opposed to waiting another week and doing it, trying to fit in next Wednesday or Thursday. I'm gonna start out with. I figured I'd start out with just like little oddball stack that I have over here of just like one or two things. Like it's been a long time since I got a Game Boy game of any kind because I really haven't played it much Game Boy at all. But I did pick up the Crash Spyro Superpack. So I have the regular Crash Superpack on Game Boy Advance, which is it 2? Entranced 2? Yeah, 2 Entranced, the second Game Boy Advance one, and Nitro Card on that one. It's an orange label. And this has Crash Purple and Spyro Orange, which neither of which are really great games, but if anything is like okay, I'll take a look and see what they're actually doing with the Game Boy Advance. Spyro in particular, like that one. Next, cartridge one. I only got one. I got one Genesis game. It's a pretty cool game though. I actually sometimes I buy things so that I don't buy similar, more expensive things, and not even to say that the thing that I bought this instead of is even really expensive. I kind of was thinking about getting Crew Ball, which is another EA pinball game. That one's like around $10, and I was just like, it's one pinball game, and I know I'm gonna get it eventually. But I might even like go and wait until I find that complete or something. But this is Virtual Pinball, made by the same team mostly, I think. I know Crew Ball says new effects on it. This doesn't, but it is made by people who made a pinball creation software for older PCs like Atari PCs for EA about 10 years earlier. And there's actually 29 pinball games on this, which is a lot for a old cartridge game. And I don't think they're going to be spectacular or anything, but there's like 29 installed games, like 29 pre-made games, and the sort of construction kit, which is really cool. I love pinball games. I don't think any of these are going to come anywhere near like the quality of like Naxat pinball games for the TurboGrafx, but with 29, there's going to be a couple of good ones on here. Excuse me. I say it's the last day of August, and I was like, yeah, you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to get pumpkin at Dunkin' Donuts. One Super Nintendo game. This is the Irem. Sometimes they say this differently, like depending on who you look at writing it out. It says the Skins game. It says the Skins game on the top label. And it's a golf game by Irem for the Super Nintendo. You can pretty much figure that one out. Sometimes it's called the Irem Skins game or the Skins game by Irem. What interests me about this, because there's a couple golf games on the Super Nintendo. None of them are that great. PGA really, if there's one you'd go with PGA, which is a couple. But this, I think, is adopted from actually an Irem arcade game, which kind of makes it a little bit more interesting to me. Like, how do you make a golf arcade game? Maybe it moves a little faster, maybe something like that. So it's not supposed to be bad or anything. So I was a little bit interested. So I picked this up at a time where I really don't buy a whole lot of pre-PlayStation era stuff at this point. Speaking of PlayStation, I only got one original PlayStation game here, but it's actually a weird story. Brave Fence and Musashi. So I didn't actually buy this. My girlfriend, bless them, bought it. They were asking me about a game that they used to play, and I knew it right away. I knew it was Brave Fence and Musashi, but they didn't really know the name of it. I said, "Oh wow, that's that is an expensive game," and also like, I don't think I've ever finished a Square-made game in my life. So even though this is more of an action game, like, I was still like, yeah, that game's also like $60. Like, I don't know if I'll ever buy it. And, geez, it make me feel, just lucky they went out. And this isn't complete. It doesn't have any of the discs besides the game disc in the case. But, I've taught them well. They paid $35 for it. I told them it was a $60 game, and it really is complete. It is a $60 and up game. So they got a good price on it, and now I know I have to play this sometime soon because I really appreciate buying us a what I know to be an expensive game, even though they got a good deal on it. But I'll say this, it looks cooler and more like my type of game than most other Square games on the PS1. But yeah, I'm really glad I have this because it is a cool game. I always thought it looked like a cool game, but it's like, oh, it's Square and it's expensive, and I'm like, yeah, I probably wouldn't actually like it enough to pay the $50, $60 that it would usually be. So I never really bothered to look for it at anything cheaper than that anyway, because I probably still wouldn't have bought it. But wow, right? Alright, and for all the talk that I do about 3DS, like, I never buy 3DS games, and then every month I feel like I have, oh shit, you know what? Forgot to look one more spot for games that I bought. That. Yep. Jesus Christ, right? I basically, what I do when I make these videos is I go to all over my room and all over the other room where I keep the PS3 and PS4. And I go, okay, what'd you buy this month? And just grab it, and I bring it in here. I totally forgot to look at this stuff. I'll get there. Excuse me, I'll get there shortly. I also have to make sure that... Pretty sure I have that other one. I got that more than a month ago. But anyway, 3DS. Excuse me. I had wanted this one 3DS game since it was announced, because I love the Mario Sports games. But I was like, man, nobody's going to buy that, and that price is never going to go down. Mario Sports Superstars. It has. I played a little bit of the soccer. Soccer was the first game that they let me pick. I was like, yeah, fine, we'll do soccer. I actually did try this game to see how it came out, and I bought it when it went down $10. I was like $30. I'm gonna buy it. I paid like $6 for each of the games in here, even if they're not like complete, as good as say the Mario Golf World Tour, which I played the shit out of. It's not going to be as robust as that, but there's 5 games. And yeah, okay. Good. I almost went and got Gravity Rush. I was like, did I get that last month or this month? So yeah, I do want to get the amiibo cards for this, because I want to do a little bit extra. Like, they're like $6. I just didn't pick them up yet. But yeah, soccer, baseball, tennis, horse racing, and golf. All gonna be like pretty decent on their own, like pretty decent in and of themselves, but not enough to be a standalone game. So they made a Mario Sports Superstars game to kind of, shrink down all the versions of those games a little bit and put them on one package, which is cool. I'm hoping that the other games might be better than soccer, because soccer was not nearly as full-fledged as Strikers, but I could still see why it was, a decent enough game to play. So yeah, a 3DS game I might actually play, because I did play it a little bit. I played, like I said, soccer. Let's go into Vita. One Vita game. This is Unit 13 by Zipper Interactive. I believe Zipper Interactive made the PS3 SOCOM games, which I haven't played or anything, but Sony seems to trust them, and they made an original first-person shooter, which is basically what I'm buying for the Vita. All the first-person shooters, all fucking 3 of them. Unit 13, I have Resistance, I have Killzone. I played Killzone, beat it, was amazing. Giving Unit 13 a shot because it was cheap, and it's one of the games on the Vita that I'll actually play. So, yeah, looking forward to that when I actually pick up my Vita again and start really playing it more. But for right now, it actually is kind of the same as the 3DS. I don't really play it that much. I did also pick up 2 PSP games. I got a Hot Shots Tennis. So this is actually the first game of a couple that I got in a weird, of all places, Walmart.com used game sale. So Walmart was having a big sale on all their used game stock, which they do that program that I still don't understand why they even try. Because their prices still aren't even nearly as good, but they had a sale on them, which brought them into like decent price territory. And I found out they were doing this through Cheap Ass Gamer, which I haven't really checked a lot lately. I used to do it all the time, but like when they say, "Oh, you can get Assassin's Creed or something for like $5 off," I'm like, I don't fucking care. Like, I wouldn't buy an Assassin's Creed game anyway, even if it was like $10, because I just don't care for that franchise unless it's on the Wii U. So yeah, they mostly do like AAA titles, and I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. But this Walmart.com used sale, I got this. Oddly enough, I had to buy 2 of these because they were $1.50. So I was like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care. I'd pay $3 for that game because I never really see it in its Hot Shots. So this is the first of those games. I put in like 5 orders. I bought like 5 games on there. Got what I thought were decent prices on all of them. So I'll point those ones out when I go through them. So Hot Shots Tennis. Haven't played any of the Hot Shots Tennis ones. Haven't even played Outlaw Tennis either. Like, just to make a parallel there. But it's Hot Shots. I love it. We'll talk about Hot Shots 2 later. A little bit more Hot Shot stuff. And another one, I bought this I like this for the case. I think the case looks great on this, like, fantastic, just a nice looking thing to have on your shelf. But Dungeons and Dragons Tactics, tactical RPGs are not my thing. They are my girlfriend's thing. So I was like saying to them, I was like, this is also like, you'll be all over this. Like, I now have Dungeons and Dragons Tactics and Lord of the Rings Tactics, both things that we both like. Except that, you know, I have to try a little bit harder to get into a tactical RPG. But yeah, 2 decent PSP pickups this month. This is a cool game too. Like I've seen this before. It looks pretty awesome. A lot of times when they use that Dungeons and Dragons, it comes out even looking cool, even if the game itself isn't that great. Yeah, cool. We'll move on to PS2. One of the first of the first one of a couple of wrestling games that I picked up, because you notice it's like a trend. I keep picking up wrestling games because usually they're cheap. At this point, my philosophy behind this is, if I get every wrestling game on the PS2 that's not Here Comes the Pain, maybe I won't want to get Here Comes the Pain, which at this point is like $20, and I don't have any real allegiance to it for being like, how do I say this? Like, at $20, it's not necessarily worth it to me to keep it if I come across it, as opposed to, you know, just bring it, then shut your mouth, and then afterwards with SmackDown vs. Raw, 2006, 2007, 2008, etc. I'm like, alright, I'm gonna have all the other ones, play through all those story modes, do all that stuff with them, not want to get Here Comes the Pain and spend like $20 on it, or have a $20 game that I don't necessarily feel like I need. But that's also my problem, is feeling like I want to get every wrestling game to play the stories in them, even though I don't need every wrestling game. Like, the only reason I buy them is because I'm like, well, this one will have a different story mode, this will have a different season mode, this will have this, that, whatever, what the fuck. And feeling like I need to have them because at one point I will play them. I know that. But it sucks because that, like, my philosophy with them is so different than they would be with, like, Madden, where on any system except the N64, I'd be like, well, what's the best Madden? Good, you buy that one, you play it. These ones, it's like, yeah, but it's going to have different writing in it. It's going to be written differently. Fuck it. Why do I have that obsession? Anyway, 2 more PS2 games. This is Shepherd's Crossing. This is an almost pathetically obvious ripoff of Harvest Moon for the PS2, published by Valcon of all things. Valcon, or I always wonder if it's an M, or I forget if it's an N or an M. It's a weirdly almost Christian themed ripoff of Harvest Moon, and it's not supposed to be bad. I just probably won't ever really play it. I'll just probably hang on to it and see if it becomes like worth money. I've been dropping everything lately. But I picked that up like super cheap. It's still super cheap new on Amazon, I think. You can probably get it for I think like $6 or $7. But I did get a used copy. This one also, this is a story with this one. This is Bujingai, the Forsaken City. So it's sort of like a fast-paced, like, based on, like, old karate movies inspired by such and such. Action game, which there's a million of on the PS2 with Onimusha, Devil May Cry, Devil Kings, so on and so forth. This one in particular it's published by a different set of companies, but the developer is called Red Entertainment. And this is another example of me buying something so I don't spend money on a more expensive, similar thing. We got for the first time, as far as I know, at the store this past week, we got a copy of Blood Will Tell, which is an amazing, similar game, hack and slash, fast-paced, over-the-top, stylized, so on and so forth. But it's made by this company, Red Entertainment, and it almost looks a lot like another game that's actually on my list, the game that I want to get, Otogi, which Sega published. I think Sega published Blood Will Tell as well. But that's for the original Xbox. Blood Will Tell is for the PS2, but it's really, really expensive. We have it for $130, which is about what it goes for. And I'm like, I've known for a long time I wanted Blood Will Tell, but I could never actually get it unless I got super, super lucky and found it like really cheap somewhere. I don't ever think I'm gonna ever own Blood Will Tell. So I reluctantly bought this Bujingai, the Forsaken City, for much, much less than that, even though it's a completely different game, not completely in the same like flavor that I want out of Blood Will Tell, but just to see another game developed by the same company in the same style and see kind of what's going on with it. So that's pretty cool. It kind of kills me. I did spend more than $10 on it. It doesn't have the manual. So like at some point, like I think that's my threshold is like I pick up most of the stuff I get for fairly cheap, especially if it's on PS2 and stuff, and that's how I amass my collection. You know, I don't spend a whole bunch of money on stuff. I just pick things up, and I look all the time. So when I spend more than $10 on something, I'm like, I really wish it was complete. That's when I'll make a big deal out of it. But I got it. I satisfied that sort of like need to play something by Red Entertainment, and just have something, not to play it, but have it in my collection. And move on. You know, I'll do that stuff last. I'll do the PS4 stuff will be one of the last things I do. So overall, there's actually not that much stuff this month. There's much, much less than I've done past 2 months, which is a good thing. So there's a couple of 360 games here. I'm going to start out with this game, and I'm going to say this a couple times, I think. I'm pretty sure this is trash. This is not a good game. I did enjoy the first one. It occurred to me that I'd never see the second one. So I was like, you know what, yeah, I'm going to pick this up. It was not expensive. It's supposed to not be good. But back when the first one came out, Vietnam was a thing that nobody was doing because World War II, everybody did World War II shooter. And this got like credit for me just being like, hey, look, a game on the PS2 by a major company. You know, one that's not like ZeniMax or some shit. Because I've seen those. But it's about like Vietnam, something different. Following it up, it's actually by Rebellion too, who makes Sniper Elite, I think. And a couple other things. I think they might have also had a hand in, what is it, like one of the newer Red Factions, maybe? I could be wrong about that. But, probably not good. I heard it's not good, but not expensive, and I never really see it, so I want to pick this one up. Next one. So it's not Skate 3. I actually have had Skate 3 before on the PS3, and I never really got super into it because I was still had the like mindset. I was like I think I was a freshman in college when I played Skate 3, and I was like, this isn't Tony Hawk. Even though I was like past the Tony Hawks because I wasn't playing the new ones. But I picked up Skate 3, and I was like, this is different. I don't like it. So getting back into it with the cheapest by far of the Skate games, just the first one. I'm not going to buy the Wii one. That's why. And seeing if I can pick it up again at some point, because I really do love playing skateboarding games when they're done well. And that's why I have this, like, oh, it's Tony Hawk. I want Tony Hawk. So, that'll be cool to just play Skate and get that whole, like, the dual analog. thing that they have going. And this is actually a game that we're supposed to be doing. Me and a couple other people, including my boss, are supposed to be doing a Game of the Month club, which is something that people do. I've heard of before, and I always thought it sounded cool. And the first game that we're probably going to play is going to be Dead Space 1. And the reason I didn't have Dead Space 1 before was, first of all, it was still really popular. It wasn't expensive or anything. It was always been around $10 to $15, but I never wanted to get it because it was one of the games, one of those select few games from when I had my first PS3. There is a list of games that I had, and some of them I still have, some of them I don't. But I had my first PS3, and it's the only console, I say this all the time, that ever just up and died on me because it got a yellow light. I remember distinctly it got a yellow light while I was in my fourth playthrough of Resident Evil 6 because they have that 3 campaigns and then you do a fourth one that ties them all together. I was in my fourth playthrough of Resident Evil 6 and my console yellow lighted on me, and I didn't know what was happening because I was I think it was in high school at the time. Or I might have been just gotten into college, probably freshman in college. And I was not happy. So I had none of my saves because I couldn't get the console to even turn on again. Dead Space 1, I never finished and was also one of those games. So I basically, if I didn't sell them, which was like that very last period of time when I was still like selling games when I thought I didn't want them, being like, oh, I want money to go buy new games. Like, now I have a job and I buy games and I drive around to places and find them cheaper, hopefully. So Dead Space was one of those games that I got rid of because I never picked it up and I never finished it because my save data was probably about 75% of the way through and I never finished it. So I never picked up Dead Space 1 again, and I'm actually looking forward to finally getting down and actually playing it and beating it, which I never did before because I always resented it a little bit because of it being on that list. I still don't have Resident Evil 6, but I resent that game anyway. For a completely different reason, which we all probably can figure out. 2 original Xbox games. I actually have been waiting for this game to come in the store or to just for me to come across it for a really long time. It's called Still Life, and it's one of a bunch of games that most of which I have now, like Broken Sword on the Xbox and stuff, by the Adventure Company. And I'll admit, I actually rarely sit down and play the Adventure Company's games, even when they make them for consoles. But just the sound of this, like, investigative thriller, it says in a big banner on the back here, you take pictures, you do all this kinds of stuff, and you solve a mystery. Awesome PC-style adventure games coming out on consoles, and nobody buys them. I still want one of their games, I think they published it, Dreamfall: The Longest Journey, which I still have never seen on Xbox. That's one of my other ones, but I finally got my hands on a copy of Still Life, which is really cool. It's so funny because it looks like if you look at the spine, like, it looks like it was kind of thrown together like they didn't have a lot of money to do it. So I feel like this game always has integrity. Like, the Adventure Company is a game company that I always felt like has had a lot of integrity, and I could be completely wrong about that. But I'm drawn to just buying their games. Another Xbox game, Knights of the Old Republic, which I always have this feeling like is more in demand and more valuable than it actually is. It kind of is. Like, most of the time I'd see it and I'd be like, if I bought it, I'd probably just want to sell it for like $20. But at this point, I picked it up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold on to this. I don't want to buy the second one because the second one's worse and more expensive. But I really feel like I should actually try and play this game. So I finally, have a copy and I'm like, I'm going to keep this copy. I may never play it. I may not play it for years. But this is my copy now of Knights of the Old Republic. Everyone raves about it. And I'm like, you know what? You got to actually try it. You got to try the game. Unlike previous months, I only have 2 Wii U games. I really slowed down because I keep getting this feeling like I do not want to buy this game yet. I have so many Wii U games. And I'm almost to the point where I have all the ones that I want, but I'm just like, man, I don't want to spend even like $12 on Lego Batman 3 right now. I just don't feel like it. we have like 5 copies of Lego Batman 3 for the Wii U. It's the only game I've ever seen us get that many copies of on the Wii U. And I'm just like, yeah, I'll continue to wait on Lego Batman 3. Maybe it'll get cheaper, just. But what I did get, I got Game Party Champions in the meantime, which is still dirt cheap right now, and not actually one that was on my list, but I did it because it is a dirt cheap Wii U game, and I don't know, it's one of those games that I feel like is going to be worth money when people are really going hard at completing it, like a complete set, after they're not in most stores anymore. So I was like, you know what, I want to get my hands on this right now for $6 basically. So I have Game Party Champions, even though it's like the definition of shovelware, carried over from the original Wii. But, I have it. I'm not ashamed of it. I have Game Party Champions. I paid almost nothing for it, for a Wii U game. And then, I actually had this game. There's one of actually a couple games that I have that I changed. I changed systems with. Picked up a copy for a system I would rather have it on. I had this on PS4, and I actually I had really high expectations for it, which I was wrong to do, because I don't know why I really expected it to play like a PS4 game. But Legend of K Anniversary was originally made by Capcom, or it was published by Capcom, rather, I should say, on the PS2, then made around to the DS, and then they made this Anniversary Edition, where it's basically a big open world, like 3D platformer, sort of like that. I tried it for a little bit on the PS4, I didn't really care for it, and I had gotten it on the PS4 because it was the cheapest at the time and really available. And what always bugged me about the Wii U version is it didn't have a blue case. I don't know why they did that. Nordic Games published it before THQ Nordic. They merged like that. And I was always like, why did you put it in a white case? I hate it. I don't want it now on the Wii U. I don't want it on the Wii U if it's going to be in a white case. And I was in a GameStop, and I was just like, they put it in a blue case. And it's less than $10. Yeah, fuck it, give it to me. Give me the fucking Wii U game. Because you put it in a blue case. That's the only reason I bought it. And I kind of hate it, but you know what? It doesn't stick out like a sore thumb now. It's in a blue case. It looks normal and fine like everything else. Like, somebody had to go and do that for me. For me to actually want it on the Wii U. But now I have it on the Wii U, and I'm glad. Moving on for Wii U, I have 2 Wii games. Like I said, I keep buying all the wrestling games. This is actually a weird one. I only got this one because this was the cheapest version of this one. And it has some good Road to WrestleMania type storylines. Not from a great period for the WWE. In, late 2008, going to 2009. I'm glad that this was the cheapest version of this game. And I still, I picked it up. I don't have high hopes for this particular version of it, because this is before they actually went to classic controller support, so you can play it like a normal game. So you're going to have to do a little bit of, motion controls with it. But I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to have one game like that and see if it actually pans out. Don't really have very high hopes for it. But that's the way we're at. We love golf. I love golf games on the Wii. There's Super Swing Golf. There's, there's not even a Mario Golf game, but there's Super Swing, there's Wii Sports, Tiger Woods games, all play great. And oddly enough, so there's not a Mario Golf game, and I bought this because it was it's made by Camelot. Basically, Camelot didn't have anything to do for Mario Golf, and Capcom said, you want to make a Wii Golf game? Make costumes for our characters and stuff, and make a golf game, because there's no Mario Golf on the Wii. So yeah, Capcom published it. They gave permission to use costumes and stuff, and Camelot made basically Mario Golf without the Mario, but a little bit of Capcom flavor thrown in there. So all for that, absolutely. Love Mario Golf. It's the same game with no Mario stuff. Another game that I switched consoles on, I picked up this copy of Gladius for the GameCube. I had it on Xbox, still hadn't played it. I was like, you know what? I'm slightly more likely to play it if I have it on GameCube. So I'm getting it on GameCube. Important note about this game, not only is it cool, Colosseum, Roman Empire, stuff like that, but LucasArts. A little bit of faith in this. So, cool. Yeah. A weird one. You realize it's not until you actually see it in person you realize you never see this one, especially for like the GameCube. Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer, probably the least popular of all the games that got made with that Activision Tony Hawk engine. And it also was made by Treyarch, who are going to do Black Ops and all the good Call of Duty games at this point. More on that later. But yeah, Kelly Slater's Pro Surfer. I don't know any of these names on the front of the cover. Anderson, Carroll, Curran, Fletcher, Frankenreiter, Irons, Machado, Robb, Slater. You fucking got me, man. To be fair, you wouldn't know any of the Tony Hawk games if they weren't in every single game and being like, yeah. This is actually going to lead into another thing, but I actually got Resident Evil 4. Now, it's not like I never had Resident Evil 4. I've owned it on GameCube before, and I've probably bought it 10 times now. I pretty much decided, I had it for PS2, and I pretty much decided, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to have Resident Evil 4, and I'm not going to have it on every system. No, I don't need that. But what I want is I want to have the original. And the original doesn't have any of the extra stuff. So I'm going to have one port of it, and I'm going to get the HD version, the newest version, the best possible version of it, which I played, streamed, you can see it on this channel and everything. Resident Evil 4 on PS4. I actually bought it, got home, and started playing it immediately just to get another playthrough of it, and I streamed 95% of it. The only parts I didn't stream were because problems with Twitch, and I was like, I'm not stopping. So go check that out if you feel like just watching someone play Resident Evil 4. And now these are the 2 copies of Resident Evil 4 that I have. And I'm pretty happy with that. So, now that I've kind of started the PS4 thing, it's weird. I actually bought I bought 4 PS4 games this month. 3 of them were Resident Evil games. So you saw Resident Evil 4 HD. 2 of these games actually were from the Walmart sale that I mentioned before. These are 2 of the other games. Resident Evil Revelations 2. I have Revelations. I actually don't have it on Wii U. I bought it originally on 3DS, and I never played it on 3DS because I bought it. I never played it on 3DS because it was on 3DS, and I never played it. And I bought it on 360 and beat it, and I should get it on Wii U at some point. It's also coming to the Switch in a 2-pack, and now that I have both of them, I'm like, fuck, no, I'm not going to buy that on Switch, because I literally just bought this, and this is supposed to be really good. I'm looking forward to this, but I'm not playing it yet, because I just played Resident Evil 4, and I'm right smack dab in the middle of Resident Evil 7, which is the main thing that I bought in that Walmart sale, because I got it for $25, and it's been worth every penny. I've started playing it, it's just blowing me away. Absolutely fantastic. First thing I'm going to do when I finish this is I'm going to be like, alright, now I'm going to go play Resident Evil 7 now. Hopefully I'm going to finish it soon. I'm probably about a little more halfway through it. Fantastic, though. And in stark contrast to the other 3 PS4 games I bought, I also got this in the mail Tuesday. Everybody's Golf. Like I said, we're going to follow up on Hot Shots. I pre-ordered this because it got extra stuff with the pre-order, which is really cool. Like a special anniversary course, special items, whatever. And they put it at $40, so on Prime it was $32, and I was like, yeah, you know what, I would really like to play this new Hot Shots Golf game. Especially because they also said that they were going to blend golf, which they don't need to change anything about the golf at all. Leave it the way it is. And they also added in kart racing with the golf carts and fishing. So I'm really, really looking forward to this. I'll probably sink a bunch of hours into this. And I'm really excited about that. But I have horror games to play first. But yeah, totally happy that I did that. You've probably been looking at this thing the whole video. This is the last stacking to get onto, and it's PS3. I actually just went out this morning to check, what else I can find, and I happened to find this. I don't have the Move controllers. I don't have the Eye. I can get the Eye pretty cheap. I know that. But this is actually a sealed copy of the Wonder Book with Book of Spells, and it was $3. I was like, you know what? That's brilliant. Fucking give it to me. I mean, I love Harry Potter, so totally gonna be all over this. Yeah, I want a Harry Potter thing, even though I'm never gonna use it. Basically, what I'm gonna do with this is like my Guitar Hero Live for the Wii U. I'm just gonna put it away for a long time until it can actually look good on a shelf when I have more space. And then a couple more PS3 games. When I was in the store, actually, this was $5. Good price for this, especially considering you never see it. And I actually had to look up because it's Koei, and I was like, they say it's like real-time action, you commands and stuff. And I'm like, but isn't it a Dynasty Warriors clone? I had to double check before I picked it up, because if it was a real-time strategy game, I would have been like, get it away from me, I don't want it. But it's a Dynasty Warriors clone. I still have never really played a Dynasty Warriors game, not even Hyrule Warriors, and I know that's going to be the first one. But what this does differently is I'm very glad that it takes away the medieval Japan, feudal Japan stuff, and replaces it with medieval Europe. So I'm like, yeah, definitely, I want that. I'd much rather play this than a regular Dynasty Warriors game, because I'd rather play medieval Europe than feudal Japan, and of course, above all that, I'd rather play Zelda. So eventually I'll play Hyrule Warriors, and then we'll get on to the other stuff. Starhawk. Again, I'm pretty sure this game's trash, but it's a Sony first-party game, and I'm a little bit interested in it. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know necessarily what to expect as vehicle-based, like, combat stuff. Unlike Warhawk, you do actually have single-player in it, so that's good. But yeah, it was, like, really cheap, so I just figured, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try Starhawk. It'll be on my shelf. It's a Sony first-party title, which I trust to a certain extent, even if it says it's trash. Call of Duty. I mentioned Call of Duty before, and I was like, yeah, get the fucking Call of Duties away from me. This is super cheap now, and I looked it up. It's not as cheap on the PS4 or Xbox One as it is on PS3 right now, but I looked it up. I was like, is it really going to make that big of a difference? No, I paid $5 for this, and I was like, let's see what all this Kevin Spacey bullshit's about. Because that's kind of me with Call of Duty at this point. It's like, I do not care. I'm not going to play the multiplayer, which is the only reason I used to buy them in the first place. But they do have this incredible job of making really good set pieces, and making everything look really nice. And just making a really, really solid first-person shooter, even if it's like an 8-hour campaign and you're supposed to go play multiplayer. I'm always kind of interested in it, but I'm not going to buy it. I'm not going to get excited for it. I'm a little bit excited for World War II, because if they do it right, they're going to be back to making stuff set in a time period that I'm super into, which is the World War II stuff. But again, I'm not going to go buy that first day. I'm going to buy it when it's like maybe $15, because I'm actually actively interested in it. Same thing with Black Ops 3. Like, even though Black Ops 3, like, the whole Black Ops series sits above everything else, I love Black Ops, I'm still not that, like, really excited about it. I'm just like, I'm going to play Black Ops 3 when it's super cheap, if it ever is. So, that's pretty much it. You got Guitar Hero Warriors Rock on PS3. It is pretty much the only Guitar Hero game that you can't get on PS2, or one of them, basically. So, I was like, eventually I found it for like $3, and I was like, yes, I need this game now. Partly, it has 3 Megadeth songs in it, including the one that Dave Mustaine wrote for it, which isn't a bad song. And I think the whole, like, style that they went with, like, story-based, actually, like, make things feel like a progression, seemed really cool. So I always wanted to get this, because it's a Guitar Hero game that I didn't have, had more songs. But, I'm not going to play it probably until I move, because I have to get the TV set up to do the PS3 and PS4 guitars at the same time, and it's a pain in the ass, not worth it. I tried it out, and I was like, yeah, it's not calibrated right, just fucking leave it until something changes. And finally, another final game that I got with the Walmart online sale. I got this for like $5, and if there was ever a story mode in a WWE game that I wanted to play, it was this one, because it's all about the Attitude Era. And even at this point, if it's being driven into the ground with everything, I just have a greater interest in it. And it has a bunch of different Attitude Era storylines that it follows. I'm super, super into that. And also, this game is actually supposed to be pretty good. This is the last game that THQ made. It's also got CM Punk on the front. Give you an idea, is like finally, something that he got what he deserved. I found out recently that I don't really, CM Punk is the guy that I missed. I totally missed his whole run for the majority of, him doing actual good. I originally stopped watching around 2007 after Chris Benoit died, and started watching last year. So I missed pretty much 90% of CM Punk, including all his best stuff. So I've started watching some of it recently, and he is amazing. And now I'm like, yeah, if CM Punk's on the game, I want it. If CM Punk is like the focus of the storyline, I want it. Not that they ever really did that. That's the whole problem. But just pointing out that CM Punk's on the front of this, I'm really happy about that because he deserved it. And that's it. That's it for this month. It was a lot less stuff, but some stuff that I actually had a lot more to say about. And I want to go play Resident Evil 7 now because I want to finish it. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next month. And for more N64 stuff, stay tuned in. Bye.